And if you're just joining us, we are awaiting Crew-11 to come on board the International Space Station following their docking at 1:27 a.m. Central this morning. The hatches were opened at 2:46 a.m. and it looks like we are having our first crew member float aboard right now. That is NASA astronaut Mike Fincke for his 4th visit to the International Space Station. And it looks like his microgravity skills never left him. Joining in the hatch is NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers, who has helped step through all of the hatch opening procedures. Once the crew does float on board the International Space Station, we are targeting a welcome ceremony this morning at 4:15 a.m. Central. Again, if you're just joining us, Crew-11 docked to the International Space Station's zenith port of the Harmony module at 1:27 a.m. Central Time. Now coming through the hatch is Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov. This is his very first visit to the International Space Station. Some big hugs there with NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers and Johnny Kim. And continuing to get a warm welcome aboard the International Space Station for him, again, first-time flyer. And next through the hatch is JAXA, or Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Kimiya Yui. And now we have NASA astronaut Mike Fincke for his 4th time to the International Space Station. And now coming into view is Zena Cardman. Again, her first time on board the International Space Station as well. Lots of smiles and hugs. 11 humans on board the International Space Station now. We are targeting a welcome ceremony this morning at 4:15 a.m. Central Time, rather. If you're just joining us, Crew-11 has just floated through the hatch of their Dragon spacecraft onto the International Space Station following their docking at 1:27 a.m. Central Time this morning. They did launch yesterday at 10:43 a.m. Central from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. With Crew-11's arrival to the International Space Station, the population on board is now 11 and will remain 11 crew members for a short time as Crew 10 and Crew 11 complete a brief handover period before Crew 10 undocks and splashes down off the coast of California.
Station Houston on 2 for talk-in forward plan.
Go ahead on 2, Matt.
Hey, Doc, it was great seeing the crew arrive on board. Congratulations to everybody. And just wanted to circle back with you on the PAO event. We were, of course, thinking of it starting at 9:15, but we can also pull it earlier to start around 9:02. That's when KU locks up on that GDRS pass. And then we could do the PAO prep event scene, might check all that on the previous pass or whenever, just before that, if the crew wants to get that done early. So totally up to the crew.
Let's keep it at 9:15 because I already told the cosmonauts that way, so let's keep it.
Hey, that totally works for us. And while I have you, after the PO event, we can have another discussion on all the other days' activities, whether or not we're going to keep them scheduled as is or pull them forward to get you guys done early. So we'll have that conversation afterwards.
With that, basically we want to move everything earlier. Thank you.
That makes sense. Appreciate it.
And again, Crew-11 is now on board the International Space Station. We are targeting a welcome event with not only the recently arrived Crew-11 crew, but the 7 members of Expedition 73 as well. Now there are 11 people on board the International Space Station. We are targeting that welcome ceremony to begin at 4:15 a.m. Central, so just a little less than an hour from now. And if you're just joining us this morning, you're looking at a live view of the SpaceX Dragon Endeavour, which docked to the International Space Station at 1:27 a.m. Central Time this morning, following launch the day prior from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida at 10:43 a.m. Central. This morning, hatches were opened at 2:46 a.m., and we are now awaiting a welcome ceremony with all 11 crew members on board the International Space Station to begin at 4:15 a.m. Central Time this morning. And this view here on your screen, you do see Endeavour dock to the zenith port of the International Space Station. That's the space-facing port. There's another Dragon docked just below and to the left. You can see its nose cone sticking out there. That is docked to the forward port, or Earth-facing side of the International Space Station, which you can see in the background as it completes this day pass. The Crew-10 spacecraft, the other Dragon, will carry Crew-10 back aboard in the coming days, following a brief handover period with the recently arrived Crew-11 crew members. Crew-11 is the 11th crew rotation mission with SpaceX to the space station as part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program. And overall, the Crew-11 mission is the 16th crewed Dragon flight to the International Space Station, which includes Demo 2 in 2020 and 11 operational crew rotations for NASA, as well as 4 private astronaut missions. While on board Space Station for their science mission, the crew of Crew-11 will perform research, technology demonstrations, and conduct maintenance activities aboard the orbiting laboratory. And they'll also be on board Space Station for a very special milestone later this year. In November, the International Space Station will celebrate 25 years of continuous humans living and working aboard the International Space Station. During the last 25 years, over 280 individuals representing 26 countries and 5 international partners have visited the space station. Again, we are awaiting a welcome ceremony this morning to begin at 4:15 a.m. Central Time, just about 45 minutes from now, following the arrival of Crew-11 to the International Space Station at 1:27 a.m. Central. Crew-11 launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida yesterday at 10:43 a.m. Good morning from Mission Control Houston. You're looking at a live view of the spacecraft Dragon Endeavour docked to the zenith port of the International Space Station's Harmony module. Docking occurred this morning at 1:27 a.m. Central Time, and the hatches were opened a short time later at 2:46 a.m. Central Time. At this point, we are awaiting our welcome ceremony to begin at 4:15 a.m. Central, less than 40 minutes from now. Crew-11 carried NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Mike Fincke, as well as JAXA, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Kimiya Yui, as well as Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov to the International Space Station, following their liftoff from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida at 10:43 a.m. Central on August 1st. And here on your screen is NASA astronaut Johnny Kim as he begins to get things set up and routed for today's welcome ceremony, targeted to begin at 4:15 a.m. Central. Johnny is completing his very first mission aboard the International Space Station after launching on board the Soyuz MS-27 spacecraft on April 8th. Also on your screen is the current commander of the International Space Station, Takuya Onishi of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. There are currently 2 JAXA astronauts on board Space Station following Kimiya Yui's arrival at 1:27 a.m. Central Time. Yui arrived on board Crew-11 with NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Mike Fincke, as well as Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov, following their launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida yesterday, August 1st at 10:43 a.m. Central.
Station Houston on 2 for Johnny. We see you setting up the camera. We'll be ready for scene and voice whenever you are, right before the 9:15 PAO event.
Okay, copy. I'll catch you on the other side of this handover.
Sounds like a plan.
And again, we are targeting today's welcome ceremony to begin at 4:15 a.m. Central. You did just hear some words from the Capcom here in Mission Control Houston up to NASA astronaut Johnny Kim as he prepares to get cameras set up and complete a scene and voice check. Again, now just a little over 30 minutes away from today's event at 4:15 a.m. Central, where all 11 crew members on board the International Space Station will have the opportunity to provide some opening remarks and be welcomed aboard the International Space Station. And we are in a brief handover period between our satellites, but you're getting a live view inside of Mission Control Houston at some of the team that did work the shift this morning for docking. Again, that docking did occur at 1:27 a.m. Central Time, with hatches opening a short time later at 2:46 a.m. Central. Crew-11 launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida on August 1st at 10:43 a.m. Central. And we are now awaiting a welcome ceremony to begin at 4:15 a.m. this morning. The team inside Mission Control Houston this morning has been led by Ronak Dave, the flight director on console, and sitting directly to his right is today's capsule communicator, who has been prime for communicating with the crew on board the International Space Station as they stepped through all of the hatch opening procedures. And NASA astronaut Johnny Kim on the right, continuing to work through some procedures ahead of today's welcoming ceremony. Joining him is the current commander of the International Space Station, Takuya Onishi, from the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency.
And Johnny, no response required as you're cleaning up. We like the view, but we would just like it a little bit down towards the deck and then panned a little bit left towards the gem relative to the camera. We like the scene. Thanks, Johnny.
Station on 2, ready for the scene and voice check on node 2 cam 1. Of note, we also have node 2 cam 2 set up as a backup option in case cam 1 goes down.
Hey, we see both. Sounds like a plan. And stand by 1, Johnny. And Johnny, that was a good voice check. We'll sync up with you guys for the event at 9:15. And actually, Johnny, if you're offering up, we'll take the backup voice check as well on the other camera. Sorry to make you float away. Yeah, and Johnny, we're not hearing you come down on that one. And Johnny, we don't need the troubleshoot. We like the primary, so no worries there. Copy, thumbs up.
And with a good scene and voice check, we are looking ahead towards today's welcoming ceremony to begin at 4:15 a.m. Central Time this morning.
Station Houston on 2 for cupola shutters.
On 2.
Hey, so we're getting close to a cupola temp constraint, which will require us to close the shutters. The last thing you'd want to do is interrupt you guys during the PAO event to do so. So we're going to ask you to go ahead and close those shutters. And we definitely apologize to our new crewmates who are probably looking out at the views right now, but we'll make it up to you guys in the back end.
Copy, and they are currently closed.
Copy all. Thank you.
And we did just hear some communications there about the cupola shutters. The cupola is the portion of the International Space Station that is lovingly known as the window to the world. Essentially, it's an area that crew members are able to look outside the window and take amazing photography of our home planet. They do have a set of protective shutters outside of the windows of the cupola that can be opened and closed for protective reasons, and so that call up to the crew to go ahead and preemptively close those cupola shutters was what that communications was about. And we are now 20 minutes out from the start of today's welcome ceremony at 4:15 a.m. Central Time. If you are just joining us, you are looking at a live view inside the International Space Station ahead of that welcoming ceremony. We did have Crew-11 that docked to the International Space Station Zenith port of the International Space Station's Harmony module at 1:27 a.m. Central Time this morning. Following that, hatches were opened at 2:46 a.m. Central Time. All of this following their launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida the day prior at 10:43 a.m. Central. So soon we will have that welcome ceremony where all 11 crew members on board the International Space Station will get to participate in this event, officially welcoming Crew-11 of NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Mike Fincke, as well as JAXA, or Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, Kimiya Yui, as well as Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov on board the International Space Station. For some statistics for you, this is Cardman's very first space flight, as well as Platonov's. It's the fourth space flight for NASA astronaut Mike Fincke, and the second for Kimiya Yui. And we are now 15 minutes out from today's welcome ceremony, beginning at 3:15 a.m. Central Time. And as we await today's welcome ceremony starting in a few minutes at 4:15 a.m. Central Time, you are looking at a live view inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room, where the team did work through procedures today for not only the docking, but the vestibule repressurization and then eventually hatch opening. The team on console during today's shift was led by Ronak Dave, the flight director on console during docking this morning. And the team here in the room did help to get on board NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Mike Fincke, as well as JAXA astronaut Kimiya Yui and Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov following their docking at 1:27 a.m. Central Time. The quartet of Crew-11 did launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida yesterday, August 1st at 10:43 a.m. Central. And you're looking at a view there of the Endeavour spacecraft docked to the zenith port of the International Space Station's Harmony module. To the lower left of the Endeavour spacecraft is the another Dragon that will actually be returning Crew 10 back to Earth in the coming days. Crew 10 is going to work on a handover with Crew 11 that of course just arrived again this morning at 1:27 a.m. Central Time. Following that handover period, Crew 10 will undock and splash down off the coast of California, and this will actually be the very first time that humans splash down off the coast of California as part of NASA's Commercial Crew program. Just a few weeks ago, Axiom 4 did splash down off the coast of California as part of NASA's a private astronaut mission aboard the International Space Station. So again, we're just about 10 minutes out from this morning's welcome event, beginning at 4:15 a.m. Central Time, where all 11 crew members currently on board the space station will join and participate. And you're getting a live look inside the International Space Station as NASA astronaut Mike Fincke, now on his 4th trip to space station, does a little microgravity flying. We are targeting our welcome ceremony to begin here in just a few minutes at 4:15 a.m. Central Time, so we'll start to see all 11 crew members come into frame. On the left there is NASA astronaut Anne McClain. And on the right is the current space station commander of JAXA, Tokoya Onishi. And now joining in the frame is JAXA astronaut Kimiya Yui. This is Yui's 2nd trip to the International Space Station. And we will go ahead and stand by for just a couple minutes longer ahead of the welcome ceremony today at 4:15 a.m. Central Time. If you're just joining us, Crew-11 docked to the International Space Station's Zenith port of the Harmony module at 1:27 a.m. Central Time this morning. At 2:46 a.m. Central, hatches were opened. All of this following their launch on August 1st at 10:43 a.m. Central from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We are ready for welcome remarks.
Please begin the welcome ceremony.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody on the ground from the International Space Station. And Endeavour crew, welcome on board. Yokoso, Daburo Pajalabachi. And we are so happy and excited to see your smiling faces. And Zena, Oleg, congratulations on your first space flight. We are looking forward to hearing your impressions and your feelings about that. And Mike and Kimiya, welcome back. Your experience will be an invaluable asset for Expedition 73. And we have a very busy handover period ahead of us, but I'm really looking forward to working with each of you. So now I will pass the microphone to Crew-11 Commander Zena Cardman.
You can tell I'm new. Hello. This has been the absolute journey of a lifetime. We are so incredibly grateful to be here. Thank you so much for this warm welcome. It was such an unbelievably beautiful sight to see the space station come into our view for the first time, especially with these wonderful crewmates. Oleg and I, both for the first time, and of course Mike and Kimiya-san have so much experience that they bring to this team. With deep gratitude to everyone who got us ready for this moment. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mike.
Thank you, Zena, and thank you to the Expedition 73 crew. You have made us feel so welcome. We're so glad to be here. We're happy to join you, and we will do our best to help the 73 crew who's on Crew 10 to get home safely. Your friends and family are waiting for you. In the meantime, this is a beautiful space station, and it's so good to be back, and we're here to take good care of it and help do our very best.
Oh, thank you very much for warm, full, very, very good welcome. And I'm so grateful to be here. We have great Crew-11 crew members and also this expedition members. Yeah, I'm very looking forward to working with them and make this Expedition 73 the best. I'll work hard. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimiya-san. I'm Oleg Platonov, and I'm also would like to say thank you very much for so warm meeting, and I believe and I hope we will have incredible and unbelievable time on board. И спасибо моим коллегам, будущим соэкипажникам. Я также благодарю вас за такую теплую встречу. И спасибо всем на Земле, кто готовил меня и наш экипаж и сделал все возможное, чтобы отправить нас сюда. Мы обещаем выполнить все наши задачи на самые высокие оценки и продвигать человечество в области космонавтики только вперед. Спасибо.
Ура. It's enthusiasm.
Thank you, guys, and once again, welcome on board the International Space Station. And Houston, back with you. That concludes our event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications. Station Houston, back with you on to for big picture rest of the day.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, Talk. We were thinking of hopping right into the ISS safety briefing. And then for the rest of the day, we're going to try to move everything to the left as much as possible. The only exceptions would be the pink cipher ops and then the non-Crew-11 PMCs. We think we can get everything else done earlier today. The only thing we ask is we keep those blue activities somewhat in the same order chronologically, just to make sure that we're all in sync. How copy?
Okay, copy all. Basically, we move everything to the left except for Fincke activity and also non-Crew-11 related PMC.
That is a good readback. Ready when you are.
And we are going to just start a safety briefing, so you guys can send a test command for caution warning tones.
Okay, sounds like a plan. We will give you a call when we're ready to send those.
Copy that.
And there you had it, a very warm welcome to Crew-11 on board the International Space Station following their launch August 1st at 10:43 a.m. Central Time. They docked today at 1:27 a.m. Central to the zenith port of the International Space Station. Following that, hatches were opened at 2:46 a.m. and we just wrapped up an incredible welcome ceremony where Crew-11 is now safely on board. You can follow along with the mission on social media and by checking the daily Space Station blog, but that's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for following along on Crew-11's journey. Go NASA, go SpaceX, go Crew-11. This is Mission Control Houston.